Good evening, everyone from Reading, Pennsylvania. Here in Exeter Township, Max Gretzel and Ian Cooper on the call. It's GEFA football. It's the Raptors and the Nightmare going head-to-head. Second time I've gotten a chance, Ian, to be here at Don Thomas Stadium. 2 weeks ago, the Raptors got beat by the Warriors. It was a close one down the stretch. And I will say this, one thing that I'm looking forward to today is how this team responds coming off a 43-6 loss just a week ago. You go from a game where you're back and forth, neck and neck, down the stretch there in the fourth quarter 2 weeks ago on this field, and then last week's a completely different story. So what are you looking forward to so far here today?
Well, we're looking for solid play. You're looking for the line to step up. They had a lot of issues with protecting the quarterback.
Yeah.
So you're going through this quarterback carousel with injuries, guys being able to execute the playbook. So what we're looking for is just solid play, get the ball out of the quarterback's hands, and let the playmakers make plays.
Well, let's talk about the injuries real quick. Tanner White, the starting quarterback who was in this game just 2 weeks ago, will not play here tonight. He is out with an injury. Shaq Gardner, one of the starting defensive tackles for this ball club, will also be out. So, again, you talked about it in the trenches. Coach Donaldson, that is, I should say, pregame touched on how important the trenches will be and how important, in your opinion, will it be as we play 4 quarters here tonight in the rain?
Yeah, holding the football, ball control is the key of this game. Both teams are probably going to struggle throwing the ball. You got wet conditions. It's cold. It's going to be a show, but you need to get that run game established.
Let's talk about the scoring opportunities in this one. When you have a game like this, you have a lot of rushing attempts, which you just alluded to. So touch on some of these players. You played in this city for multiple years. What's your experience with this squad? And give us a little bit of insight into a few players that you have your eye on.
A couple players, first and foremost, with Tanner White being out.
Yeah.
You're not sure who you're going to get at the starting quarterback position.
Right.
Albert Hanna is one that just came up. Wilson Fontanez, he has been that go-to guy as the number 2. Marcus Pyers, he's also played some quarterback. So right now, they're probably going to go with the hot hand. Who's the one that looked steady and consistent in pregame warmups?
Awesome. Well, we'll step aside. When we come back, we will have our game starting here at Don Thomas Stadium. It's Max Gretzula. It's Ian Cooper on the call for GEFA football presented by B&B Media. Stay with us. Welcome back, everyone. Max Gratzola, Ian Cooper on the call with you. It's GEFA football here at Don Thomas Stadium. The Raptors and the Nightmare doing battle here this afternoon. Again, Raptors coming in 0-5, looking for their first victory. They've been close multiple games this season, and we'll see if they can get the job done here tonight on their home field. They receive the football to start, and they get a solid return out to about midfield. And we have a flag on the play, so it could have been an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty out of bounds there.
Absolutely. He was hit about 2 yards out of bounds. That is Isaiah Zeke Wilson with a great return, tack on 10 more yards, and they'll start the drive in great field position.
Well, talk to Zeke pregame, seemed in good spirits. And we'll see what this Raptors offense can do without Tanner White at the starting quarterback position. Ryan Santana will get the start under center here tonight. Again, wet conditions, cold temperatures, much different from what we saw just 2 weeks ago right here in Exeter Township.
Yeah, we'll have to see what Santana can do. There's going to be a limited playbook. He just joined the team on Wednesday, their first practice. So we'll see what they come out with. Are they going to run the ball, or are they going to come out and sling it a little bit with him?
Could also expect Santana to run around and try to create some solid plays with his legs. We touched on that off camera. And after the 15-yard penalty, it sets up tremendous field position for this Raptors offense. And we'll see with Santana in the shotgun on the 1st and 10 play. He takes the snap, hands it off, and it's a solid gain out to the right side down around the 2-yard line.
Yeah, that's Dario Ruiz coming up with the solid pickup of about 8 yards. Good play calling for the first play. Set those nerves for the young quarterback and see what they come out with 2nd down and 2.
So we'll see how many touches Ruiz gets here tonight. And with the ball down on the goal line almost, should expect, at least in my opinion, to see a couple more rushing opportunities. Santana takes the snap, a little bit of a miscommunication. He'll keep it himself, and he'll get into the end zone for a touchdown. Well, Santana turns garbage into gold, as it looked like a couple of the members in that backfield didn't have at least communication on the same page.
Yeah, definitely a broken play to start off, but the young athlete quarterback made the play, made something out of nothing.
Well, it's a rushing touchdown. And the Raptors will go for 2. Of course, no extra points in the GEFA, so the 2-point opportunities will be huge. It played a major role 2 weeks ago in that nail-biter against the Warriors, especially in that 4th quarter.
Yeah, this is when the offense needs to hunker down and really focus on that short yardage. This is the area where it's very hard to score with less room to run.
We saw White mostly in the shotgun throughout that entire game 2 weeks ago on this field. Ruiz fakes out, and the 2-point attempt will be unsuccessful as Santana has his first passing attempt go incomplete, and some jawing after the play.
Yeah, and this continues to be an issue too. The discipline with the team, you just score. Unfortunately, you didn't get the extra point, but then you're jawing at the other team. You have to focus, you have to maintain your composure and play a good, solid game. Don't cost your team any penalties that can hurt you in the long run.
The Raptors take the plus field position, and move right down the field. Just 3 plays it took them to get into the end zone. So they lead 6-0 early on. And, Ian, I tell you what, 2 weeks ago when we were here, the first quarter felt like a full game with how much it dragged, but then the other 3 quarters, of course, moved quickly. So you never know what you're going to see when you come to this football game.
Correct. So far, the offensive line for the Raptors had done a good job holding up the defensive line, creating some time and some room, a couple holes to run through on that first series, electing to run the ball 3 times and only pass for the extra point. And even then, it looked like play action and try to get the ball out to the playmaker, who is Wilson Fontenez.
And Santana, we know, has some rushing ability as well. Saw him score the touchdown for the Raptors, so he's able to escape the pocket, buy himself some extra time, and we'll see if that's a storyline as this one continues. A weak kickoff by the Raptors, and the Nightmare fall right on top of it.
This is going to be a storyline throughout the entire game, is who can control the ball, and you see the slickness of the ball going on with the kickoff there of number 78, unable to make the catch, and they just fall on it to start their drive.
Yeah, Bill Wingle. I'll tell you what, if you're number 78 and you're returning a kickoff, probably not the best idea, just speaking in major terms.
Probably not the best hands, probably not a receiver.
So the Nightmare will have their first possession of the game. And the first play is a rushing attempt to the outside. Goes Marcus Weston. And he has a mini pickup to the far sideline. So the first play handled by Takeem Carter, a running back. So maybe a little bit of a wildcat formation to start this one for the Nightmare, as already he is off the field. That's number 14. Now he jogs back on. We'll see how much he gets the snaps here tonight.
And that was a great play by Max Burgess, lining up that linebacker position, able to get sideline to sideline and make that play in backfield.
Carter back out there in the shotgun on second down. He takes the snap, fakes the handoff. He'll try the near sideline, and he's bottled up in the backfield. Ball came out. We'll see if he was down. We have a whistle. And will the referee rule down by contact? Still no signal.
And that was a great rush by Kyle Lash, number 51. He's been a stud this entire season for that Raptors front three. Getting off the ball quickly and making the play.
The Nightmare maintained possession of the football. So it'll be 3rd down and long coming up for Cole County. 3rd and 13 to be exact. Carter in the shotgun. Takes the snap. He's back. He's going deep down the far sideline, and it's intercepted. A score on one side of things for the Raptors, and now a takeaway on the other. Great start to this one for Berks County.
Yeah, and that was a great play by the safety, coming over the top to make that play. It tried for the deep ball on 3rd and long. Redding was ready for it.
Karan Williams comes away with the takeaway. And at 6'2", he's got the length and speed to be able to beat that wide receiver down the field. And the Raptors will have their second chance on offense. Rain has dissipated from what we saw earlier on here today in Exeter Township. As Santana can't miss him. He's got the bright orange cleats. He takes the snap, pitches it to the far corner, and out of bounds there.
And it looked like the Raptors opened up the playbook for the first time with Santana. They lined up in the high motion with Pyers coming downhill, but still elected to run the ball. Nightmare played it well. Raptors still got 4 yards on the first play.
You mentioned it, Beamer, the ball carrier. He picks up 4, and that'll bring up a 2nd down and 6. So you see 2 different ball carriers so far. It's Ruiz and Beamer. Pyers looks to get a little bit of a motion start on that far sideline. Santana fakes the pitch, and that one is a rainbow. Lots of air under it, and it'll be incomplete. Dangerous pass attempt there from Santana as he threw a prayer to the sky.
Yeah, he got very lucky that ball didn't get intercepted. It looked like he had Pyers going right down the middle early, but elected to throw it deep to Wilson Fontanez.
So that'll bring up a 3rd down and 6. Surprised there at all, Ian, that they went with the passing play after picking up 4 on 1st down?
A little bit, yeah. They're having some success running the football. They're opening up the playbook. First 2 passes have not looked good so far. I would still keep it short for them and get the ball out to the playmakers.
You talked about it in the open, how important the trenches would be, and so far that offensive line up front looks pretty good.
Yeah, they're holding up well. The adjustments they made and the changes they've made to that front three seem to be playing off.
Fontenez lines up to the near side. Pyers again in motion. Santana pitches it to him, and he loses the handle. He falls on top of it, but it looked like it was going to be a backwards pass and something possibly opening up down the field. Not meant to be, however, and that'll bring up 4th down.
Yeah, it looked like what they were doing. They did a loop motion with Pyers, tried to pitch it out, and it looked like it was going to be a pass by Pyers. However, he has the gloves on. We talked about this pregame. When you're wearing these rubber gloves with wet conditions, they don't hold up. Coaches always preach, get rid of the gloves if you're going to handle the football.
So the Raptors unable to take advantage of the interception. And they will boot it back to the Nightmare, deep in their own territory as well. Low snap, and it's a line drive punt. And a plus hop for the Raptors. They'll fall on top of it. And the Nightmare will be backed up around their own 3 or 4 yard line.
Yeah, it took a great bounce. It wasn't a pretty punt, but it got the job done.
8:35 to play, still in this first quarter. Just Chimneys, talked about them 2 weeks ago. Stucco and remediation as well. Give them a call or visit their website, Just Chimneys and Stucco Remediation. Max Gretzel and Ian Cooper on the call with you from Don Thomas Stadium at Exeter Township. It was a quick rushing touchdown by Santana early on, the first possession of the Raptors at that, if you're just joining us. And a takeaway on the other end in their first defensive possession. Back on the field, after not being able to take advantage of it, however, are the Raptors defense. And they'll go back to work after the Nightmare are, no pun intended, backed up in their own territory.
Yeah, they got a little help with a holding call on the punt, but here they are starting off 1st and 10.
Weston is not going anywhere as he took the carry and was bottled up pretty quickly.
There again, the snap didn't look like it was handled clean. It definitely affected the play, and the Raptors' defensive line coming up big, coming up strong so far early on in this first quarter.
Berks County's defense gave up 46 points 2 weeks ago, 43 points last week. And if you're just joining us, we talked about how inefficient their defense has been, but if you're tuning in for the first time this year, it looks like a completely different story. So far, so good on the back end. A couple of black jerseys scramble. And we have a yellow, a hefty yellow hanky out there on the field. And that's the second flag of the game. And on that note, Ian.
Yeah, this one's going to be holding on the Nightmare. They're going to back it up 10 yards. Go a second down. We'll see if the head coach of the Raptors chooses to accept the penalty or decline it. He's going to decline it and make it 3rd down and 10. The issue with this Raptors team has been turnovers. The defense has been playing strong, especially these last 3 weeks, with interceptions and just altogether holding it down. The offense is where the big letdown has been. Past couple weeks, there have been several pick sixes, which resulted in a higher score than what the defense actually gave up.
Especially when the offense is turning the football over and not helping out their defense too much when the opposing team has plus territory. Carter will push up the middle. He's got some space over midfield, and he's tackled shortly thereafter, still rolling. And Carter stumbles into Raptors territory.
And that's the one setback with this very quick, very strong front three for the Raptors defense. They sometimes will lose contain of the quarterback, and the quarterbacks have been able to escape. Whether it be outside or inside, they've just been able to find room. That's where the linebackers need to step up and come up and make that play.
So far, it's been a completely different story on that play, as we saw the linebackers and the defensive ends kind of suffocate Carter and his teammates throughout the first couple possessions. And not so much on that play as Carter finds some running room. And the chains are now moved. 1st and 10 Here come the Nightmare. Nightmare 3-1 record on the season. They played some solid football throughout. Carter with a screen pass, and it's popped up in the air and not meant to be as far as the turnover goes.
Yeah, the Nightmare, they are 3-1. However, they have played some of the weaker teams. The Raptors have seen a gauntlet in these first 5 games with some of the stronger teams in the league. However, the Nightmare did beat the team that the Raptors lost to their first home game.
Yeah, definitely. And you see Truesdale, who missed that last home game when we were here, shaking up on the place, still stretching out. Looks like one of those hamstrings.
Yeah, he is one of the older vets, so we'll look to see if his health plays any part in this game. But he's usually strong, and he'll be out there if he can be.
Carter takes the snap, steps up, and the rush is on. The defensive line gets there.
It looked like the Nightmare also got away with a hold by big number 70. He just bear hugged the Raptors D end. Referee looked like he was going to pull out the flag, but then he saw the result of the play and just left him go.
Kyle Ash has his first sack tonight, coming off a 3-sack performance in the Raptors' last home game.
He is one of the league leaders in tackles for loss, so he is playing very well. He's also looking at some colleges to get into, and it sounds like possibly Lackawanna. So we'll see if he'll take his talents to the next level this next spring.
Certainly a name to keep an eye on. That'll bring up a 3rd down and long. Carter to throw again. He'll go deep down the left sideline, and it's intercepted. No, it's a touchdown.
Oh,
is he out of the back of the end zone?
He stepped out of the end zone.
Unbelievable.
Great coordination, great way to pull in that ball. However, just ran out of real estate.
Kind of a wild play as Williams went for his 2nd interception of the game, bobbled it right to his opponent, who wasn't able to keep his feet in bounds. So Prince unable to handle the bobble by Williams. And that'll bring up 4th down from midfield.
Looks like the Nightmare are going to go for it. Now they move and shift to a punting formation.
Yeah, with Carter out there, he's playing a ton of snaps so far, obviously at the quarterback position, but on special teams as well, as that ball trickles into the end zone for a touchback.
And that's a smart play to let that go. You keep your heels on the 5-yard line. If it goes over your head, you let it go and take the touchback.
So far, so good for Berks County. Came out firing, taking advantage of the plus field position. And so far, throughout the last few minutes of game action, are treading water. We'll see what their offense can do. Santana and company trots back onto the field. Pyers, after that pitch attempt, wasn't able, for the most part at least, Ian, to handle that. But outside of it, a guy I highlight simply because he's done some damage throughout his Raptors career.
Oh, absolutely. He's been around for years, always been a playmaker, always been a hard worker. It's good to see him still out there earning his keep.
He lines up in the slot on the far sideline, and it's a rushing attempt to the far sideline at that, and out of bounds right there.
That's Wilson Fontanez taking the end around, about a 7-8 yard gain. Nice
Fontanez
pickup on 1st down.
Has the speed, 6 foot, 200 pounds, but he's as athletic as anyone out there, and he shows you why.
He definitely is one of those playmakers for the Raptors, and he has to keep getting the ball in his hands for them to be successful today.
So far, the misdirection has worked to the Raptors' advantage. Second down and short. Santana unable to handle the snap. It was low. The ball's out. A couple of bodies on the turf. And we'll see who's awarded possession. I think the Raptors fell back on it.
Looks like Dariel Ruiz was able to cover up that ball and save it, so the Nightmare couldn't get it. We got a 3rd down and 7. A heads-up play by Ruiz to get back on that football, even though he was going across the field.
You mentioned it, 3rd down and 7. And one of the bigger plays so far in the first quarter for the Raptors. Every 3rd down is big, but you never know how this one will pan out later stages of this ball game. Santana with a couple of misdirections. Fontenay has lost the handle. Excuse me. That's Ruiz. The ball's out, and it'll be a touchdown.
That's what we talked about early in the game, that ball security. These guys wearing those gloves on a rainy day, wet football, you got to take them off. You got to understand the game flow and what's going to work for you.
Devon Prince in his 9th year in the league picks up the scoop and score after the ball that was deflected by Williams went right through his hands in the back of the end zone. So playing both sides of things, and he's rewarded right there.
And this has been the issue with the Raptors all season is the offensive turnovers. They have to secure the ball. They have to play smart, clean football in order to win these games.
Quick shout out to K-Shop Gallery and Glass Studio. It's the home of the Red and Glass. Matilla. Matilla, Brandon, we going with Matilla? Militia? Matilla? Militia? Well, same thing happened to me 2 weeks ago. We'll have to work on things. 2-point attempt unsuccessful. Militia, Ian, it's a word.
It is a word.
Pass incomplete. So the 2-point conversion unsuccessful. I brought that up earlier in the ballgame just because of the fact that, yes, scoring on both sides of things will be huge, but who is able to complete those 2-point conversions and really extend their lead, especially with the conditions being what they are?
It was a good play design. They had the running back coming from right to left and was able to sneak out. However, again, he ran out of real estate. That small end zone, the 15 yards, you have a whole lot of bodies down there, and you just run out of real estate really quick.
Well, I think after reading those advertisements for K-Shop, they're going to want me fired, but I'm trying my best over here. So the Raptors will get possession back. We'll see what they're able to do after Ruiz put the ball on the turf. And you mentioned the pick sixes in recent weeks. This time it's a fumble, and it's a recovery for a touchdown. So any which way the Raptors are turning the football over has really gone from bad to worse.
We'll see if we can have another good return by either Williams. Oh, and it's
Gary Bostic was the one who went to boot it away. A whistle.
And it looked like Burgess making another play, securing that football. That's a hard thing to do when it's kicked right at you. It's wet. Could take a bad hop, but he was able to jump on it.
So the Raptors will have now 15 yards to work with as they push toward the end zone. Again, taking advantage of the opportunities at hand. And really, if they're unable to, or I should say, if they are able to not shoot themselves in the foot as far as the turnovers go, they look like they have a really solid opportunity here as these teams go back and forth early stages of this first quarter.
We'll see if the Raptors made any adjustments. Early on, they came out in tight formations. Now they've been spreading it out, and they haven't had as much success. They're just not able to throw the ball downfield.
Pyers goes in motion again on that far sideline. Santana's back. He looks to throw, and it's an inaccurate ball over the middle of the field. Looking for Fontenay, I believe.
Yeah, it looked like it might have been a sail delay, which is a delayed slant by the receivers with Pyers doing a sail route over the top, which is a short corner. Looked like Fontenay did not hold up and do his delay as the play calls for, which is why the ball was thrown behind him.
Fontenay and Santana jog back onto the football field after getting the play from the sideline. Fontenay will line up on the near side. Pyers in the slot to the far side.
We have empty formation for the Raptors.
Santana back to pass. He's got a clean pocket. He'll step up. He'll sling one deep to the far corner, and that's over the head of Pyers and incomplete.
Pyers was running the wheel route from the slot position, but the quarterback was unable to find him right away. Good coverage by the Nightmare.
Well, over the last few plays, it seems as though the Raptors have gone away from the rushing attack. And that's something to monitor as this one goes on.
Yeah, with a new quarterback, a young quarterback, you definitely want to get the ball out of his hands quickly, get the ball to the playmakers, get the ball to those running backs. You were successful on that first drive, and then things have changed. Maybe it's time to get back to that play call.
Under 4 to play in the first quarter. Fontenez near side. Pyers looks like he'll go in motion. Jay Corley lined up on the outside. And the pitch play is on. And it's not going to work.
Good containment by the Nightmare. Way to get out there, fight off those blocks, and make the play.
Jay Whitlock can't find any running room. And that'll bring up a third down.
We'll see what the Nightmare come out with. Obvious 4th and long passing situation. Does Santana have any kind of options downfield? Can he make the throws? He has yet to complete his first pass despite having 3 drives.
Indeed, 4th down, Ian, so I appreciate that. And after having 15 yards to work with on first down to reach the end zone, it's now 3rd down, and the Raptors have gone backwards. We have a whistle and a Raptors timeout. First stoppage of the game and first opportunity for us to take a break. We'll step aside. It's 6-6, late stages of the first quarter. We'll be right back. Out of a timeout. It's 4th down. Santana trying to get things going. 4th and 11 at that. Pyers in motion. Santana takes the snap. He's back, another clean pocket. Decisive pass this time, and it's incomplete as Pyers was double covered in the end zone.
They ran that same scheme where Pyers ran the short corner, the sail route, with 2 slants underneath. And, again, a Nightmare right on top of Pyers. They got to change up their play call. They got to bring something back over the middle, maybe a little misdirection, double route combos.
So Raptors turn the ball over on downs. Nightmare offense back to work. And it's been 2 different flows for both sides. The Raptors taking advantage of some plus field position, moving the ball methodically down the field when they have the opportunities. But for the most part, the Nightmare have gone the opposite direction and have taken advantage of some chunk plays and, of course, the scoop and score. Carter, this time he'll hand it off out of the backfield, and a nice tackle right there. Lash, not somebody you want to mess with, and he shows you why right there.
Again, that front 3 for the Raptors is just dominating this game as they have the past couple weeks. They really have been a solid group up front.
What would you say, Ian, about giving Pyers an opportunity to get some snaps at the quarterback spot? I know he's done it prior here and there, but if the offense isn't able to get going, what do you think?
I wouldn't be surprised to see a change here. With a full quarter gone by, the quarterbacks have not completed any passes at this point. Whether it's Fontenez, Pyers, Santana, someone has to get that ball to the receiver's hands.
Weston lined up on the near sideline. And it looks like Carter's going to take off and run, and he's bottled up and hit there on the near sideline. So that'll bring up a 3rd down, Ian.
That was good pursuit by Sutton and Burgess again, playing that linebacker spot, getting sideline to sideline.
Called Burgess' name a few times now. He's getting his name in the stat sheet.
Absolutely. Looks like he has a great nose for the football. He's making plays out there.
So it's a 2-yard pickup for Carter, and that brings up a 3rd down and 8. Big opportunity here for the Raptors to get off the field. Play clock is unplugged, and it looks like that'll take us to the end of the first quarter. Indeed it will. 6-6 is your score at the end of 1. We'll see you for second quarter action. Max Gretzel and Andy Cooper on the call for Flagship Network. Out of a timeout, second quarter action starts now from Don Thomas Stadium. Max Gretzel, Ian Cooper on the call for Flagship Network, presented by B&B Media.
Nightmare come out in a trips left formation.
Carter takes the snap, bobbled it momentarily. He'll step up in the pocket, escape some traffic, but it looks like it'll get pulled back by a holding call.
Yeah, great vision from the quarterback, getting up the field, making the Raptors over pursue yet again. However, that holding is going to bring the call to play back, set up a long 3rd down.
So the Raptors dodge a bullet, and the Nightmare will be backed up even further into their own territory. Appreciate everyone joining us. I know it's a dreary, wet day here in Exeter Township as the Raptors look for their first victory of the season. You mentioned, Ian, some talent on this team and some high notes throughout, but that quarterback position continues to be highlighted simply because not only the record, but the sputtering going on back and forth with these offensive possessions throughout.
Yeah, we're going to have to see some kind of change with the Raptors play calling to set them up for success.
Carter, deep one, down the middle of the field, and it's incomplete as 3 black jerseys are there to cover Adamako.
Good, solid defense on a 3rd and long. You know they have to throw the ball deep, and they have a couple times early in this game. They're just sitting back in a cover 3. Luckily, it wasn't intercepted again early in this game.
Great coverage by Williams, as he has an interception and a couple of pass breakups so far tonight. That brings up a 4th down for the Nightmare. Looks like they line up in punting formation. But you never know in the GEFA, Ian.
We
never know.
We will see.
Looks like a pretty solid punt that time. It'll hit the turf and trickle out of bounds right around the 2 or 3 yard line.
Very nice punt. Change the field. See what the Raptors can do coming out of their own end zone.
So the Raptors will take over on offense, and again, Ian, we saw 2 weeks ago the offense heat up, go back and forth again, put up 36 points in that loss. Last week, a completely different story, but nevertheless, it's what the opportunities at hand cost them that victory. When you have, you know, the Nightmare, for example, not being able to hit the gas pedal and really pull away from this squad, the Raptors get a couple of opportunities on the offensive side of things, and so far just haven't been able to come up with 2, 3, 4, 5 plays in a row that are plus yardage.
That's exactly what's going on here. The Raptors need to establish a long drive, get this quarterback some confidence. They look like they're lined up in a tight bunch set.
Ruiz takes the handoff. He'll try to turn the corner. He picks up about 5 on first down.
And that's what they need to do. Get the ball in the playmakers' hands. Let them get upfield. Let them do what they do. Holding the ball with a young quarterback who's new to the system, new to the playbook, that's going to pay dividends with his confidence.
Max Burgess trots out on the football field, number 8. And Williams heads off. 2nd down and 5. We'll see what the Raptors draw up here. In my opinion, I'd like to see him keep the ball on the ground, especially what you just saw from Ruiz there on first down.
Absolutely. Ball control is key. And you're moving the ball on the ground. Keep that going. You're averaging 5-6 yards a carry. Keep it going.
Ruiz to the right of Santana. Instead, he'll keep it this time. He'll try the opposite way. Turns the corner down the far sideline and out of bounds. Santana picks up the first down and more.
Very Cam Newton-esque run on that play.
There is a flag on the play, however. And we'll see what the discussion here is between the referees. It's not in the backfield, so don't expect a hold, but it's over there right in front of the Nightmare sideline.
We have a block in the back on the Raptors.
Well, just like you saw in the last possession from Carter, his big run was taken away by a holding penalty. And now the Nightmare, pun intended, comes for this Raptors offense as that run from Santana is called back. So back-to-back possessions where both quarterbacks have solid runs, and it turns out to go the opposite direction. So the Raptors backed up on their own 9-yard line. Ruiz still in the backfield to the right of Santana on 2nd down. Takes the snap. Ruiz gets the handoff. He'll try the far sideline, and he gets a solid gain, and he's pushed out of bounds.
Looks to have just gotten a first down. Nice run. Keep that going. You have your two-back set with a wing out leading on the lead block.
Clock continues to run here in the 2nd quarter as Ruiz gets a deserved breather on the sidelines for this play. Credit Brooklyn Wells, number 7 there also, for going in motion and throwing some solid blocks, getting out in front of Ruiz. Williams back onto the field. He'll line up to the left of Santana this time. Fontenez in motion. There goes Wells as well, or I should say as well, right? Santana takes the snap, and he'll pick up 6, now 7, now 8, now maybe 9, and even 10. He has a first down.
Continues pushing, but did the ball come out late? And it did.
There's an injured Nightmare player on the field. And you're right, that ball did pop out. And sometimes when you try to push for those extra yards, it's the number 1 thing on your mind, and the number 2 thing, I guess, on your mind is that football. So that one popped out right there.
Absolutely. Again, we find the Raptors starting to move the chains, control the ball, and another fumble in these wet, dreary conditions.
Jay Whitlock jogs off the sideline, and it looks like he will head to the locker room. So we'll try to get you an update there, maybe an injury. Maybe he just needs to use the bathroom, who knows. So it'll be 1st down and 10 after the Nightmare come away with a turnover. Carter in the shotgun takes the snap. He'll throw on 1st down, scrambling out now to the right. He's got some space to work with, and he's tripped up after a 3-yard gain.
Lash applying the pressure coming off the edge, forcing Carter to scramble to the right and get a couple yards. Again, with that containment, that's the issue with the Raptors up front. They're very fast. However, if the quarterback's able to step up or step around that D end, he's able to pick up some yardage.
After the rush from Carter, that'll bring up a 2nd down and 7. And we'll see if the Nightmares offense goes on the ground game now.
the Nightmare haven't really been effective rushing the football so far, which is why they keep trying to go to the air. Their biggest plays have been from Carter rushing the football.
Josh Neal to the right of Carter on 2nd down and 7. Carter takes the snap, and he'll throw over the middle. It's incomplete. Rodriguez was his intended target, and that brings up a 3rd down and 7.
Carter really never looked like he was going to set his feet and get ready to throw that football, and it came off very awkwardly.
Almost like it was a scripted pass before the ball even was released.
Exactly. And again, with these wet footballs, it's not like the NFL where you're given clean, dry footballs throughout. These guys play with the same football all game long, which is definitely going to affect this game as we move on through the rain.
Nope, so far the Raptors have been playing a bend but don't break offense, and we'll see if they can keep that going here on 3rd down. Carter in the shotgun yet again. Back to throw on 3rd and 7. Steps up in the pocket, but he's trapped there, and a couple of black jerseys will get to him.
And there's Lash again. He is a monster up front, just dominating that center right now.
Lash picks up his 2nd sack of the game, and that'll come up with a 4th down and long opportunity for the Nightmare. And based on the reaction of Carter, looks like they'll punt it away.
And that's what we have from the Raptors. You have speed, and more speed up front, but they're also big. Yeah, they can fill those gaps, but they can also get after the quarterback.
Kerry Bostic in his 6th season will be on to punt it back to the Raptors. Williams, the return man for Berks County, and that one is popped up in the air. Not the kick you wanted to see if you're a Nightmare fan. And the ball will trickle towards that far sideline and die right there.
And that's where the Raptors have to be a little bit smarter. They have to get away from that football. If that takes an awkward bounce and bounces off them, that's a live ball, and a Nightmare would get it back. Something like that, the guys just need to run off the field when the ball's in the air.
In a game like this, as a player, when you're playing on your home field and the conditions are as wet as they are, for you, going back to your playing days, what's it like when you're out there on the offensive side of things?
It's very difficult. You have to make sure you're as dry as you can be. Your hands are going to be wet. Your towels are going to be wet, so they're not effective. Again, with guys wearing these new gloves, with them being rubber on the inside, when that rubber meets the wet leather on the ball, they're going to have trouble controlling that.
Almost like a car hydroplaning on the highway.
That's exactly what it is.
Jones picks up a couple on 1st down. So again, multiple players touching the ball on the offensive side of the backfield for Berks County. And after the handoff, Jones heads out.
The Raptors are doing a pretty good job with misdirection plays right now. A lot of counters, a lot of sweeps, getting behind that lead blocking of Brooklyn Wells.
Santana takes the snap. He'll hand it off to Jones, who has some running room, and he's down near 1st down. And that'll bring up a 3rd down and 1. So back-to-back plays, back-to-back rushing attempts, I should say. And 2 positive plays for this Berks County offense.
If I was that Raptors signal caller, I would continue to rush this football. You've been successful the entire game, minus the couple miscues, and they haven't been able to throw the ball downfield. They haven't been able to push it. They keep in this tight formation with 2 running backs and Brooklyn Wells as the wing coming around as the lead blocker.
Jones to the left of Santana. Wells in the backfield also. And Santana on a keeper tries the outside corner, and he's out of bounds near a 1st down. We'll see if they give it to him.
And they do not. He is just short, bringing up a 4th down and 1 situation.
In the GEFA, obviously different rules compared to the NFL and some other leagues people are familiar with. Is the quarterback sneak allowed in this league?
It is. this is one of the leagues where you can run with the quarterback at any point, whether he's under the center or in the shotgun snap. But we'll see what they come with a young, inexperienced O-line.
Wells in the backfield yet again, as is Jones. Santana takes the snap. It's a keeper to the right side, and he's got the first down and a little bit more.
Good job up front, making those key blocks. That was a big block by number 62. One of his first, that was 52. That was Alex Degler. He is also new to the team this week. So 2 key additions, Degler and Santana.
Well, you start 0-5 in any sport, things need to change, and you see the newcomers putting their fingerprints on this one.
Absolutely. I know that the heads of the Raptors organization have been trying to make some changes, and you see a couple of the players making big-time plays right now.
Jones and Wells yet again in the backfield. Santana will try to throw this time on first down. He'll go deep for Pyers, man-to-man coverage, and it's incomplete.
Pyers was there. Great throw by Santana, just unable to bring that thing in.
Credit Rodriguez with the deflection. And that'll bring up a second down as we are under 3 to play until halftime.
That was definitely the best ball we've seen from Santana today. Possibly getting some of that confidence, possibly understanding some of the play calling with the new playbook to him. So we'll see if he's able to build on that. But if I was the Raptors, I would continue to run the football right here, run out the quarter, let your playmakers make those plays.
Interesting to see Pyers off the field here on second down. Fontenez trots back on the field. He'll line up on the near sideline. Wells chucks the glasses, and it looks like it's going to be a false start. Well, not what you want to see after a couple of plus plays. The Raptors go backwards. Still 6-6 in the first quarter. It was a touchdown by Santana on the Raptors' first possession via the rush, and a scoop and score on the other side of things for the Nightmares. Since then, we haven't had a point on the scoreboard.
And we'll see what the Raptors try to do here with Wilson Fontenez have a little bit more speed than Pyers out there at the wide receiver spot. He is put on an island one-on-one with that corner.
Williams back into the game in the backfield. He'll line up to the right of Santana, and he'll get it here and spin around, and he is swarmed by a couple of white jerseys in the backfield.
In this possession, we've done nothing but go backwards. A loss of 5 on first down, a loss of 5 again on second, and now we have a 3rd and long. What does Santana have for throwing the ball downfield?
Devon Prince jogs off the field for the Nightmare, and he's banged up, it seems. One of the few plays so far via the rushing attempts for the Raptors to go backwards on that last play. We have a timeout on the field. Raptors call it, and we'll be right back after this. It's a 3rd down opportunity for the Raptors after the false start and the backwards rushing attempt. Santana in the shotgun as Wells goes in motion. He takes the snap. He'll hand off, and again, it's another negative play for Berks County. Beamer bottled up in the backfield, and it'll bring up a 4th down.
With 4th and long, I wouldn't be surprised to see the Raptors punt it away here with just over 2 minutes left in this first half.
Wind blowing heavily left to right on your screen.
And that's a 2-minute warning.
2-minute warning. We'll step aside. Be right back after this. Max Gratzula, Ian Cooper on the call for GEFA football presented by B&B Media. Quick stoppage of play, but we're back at it. 4th down. And the Raptors will look to punt this one away to the Nightmare as we are under 2 to play at this point. Just reached the 2-minute warning. Solid punt as that ball will trickle down to the 3-yard line. So Reading, or excuse me, Berks County pushes the Nightmare back deep into their own territory.
And that's Hannah's second punt. Both did not look good coming off the foot. However, they had a great result from the punt. They're going to be in the 5-yard line.
Just what the doctor ordered for this Berks County defense as they'll go back to work. Kyle Ash has been dominant up front on that line. Williams has been solid in the secondary as well. And that's one of the main reasons why the Nightmare, who again come in with a record of 3-1, only have 6 points in this ballgame.
I wouldn't be surprised to see the Nightmare start off with a couple runs to get out of the shadows of their own end zone. However, that has been the key to the Raptors' success up front. They're stopping that run.
Well, with only 1 minute and 49 seconds to play here until halftime, the Nightmare will be going right into the wind and the rain at that. So look out for those passes. If they get too much air under them, maybe this secondary can come away with a takeaway. Carter on 1st and 10. He takes the snap, fakes the handoff. He'll run it himself to the outside, and he'll pick up a couple there as he's pushed out of bounds. Gain of 5 on the play.
As expected, the Nightmare just running the football, trying to run this clock out, get some real estate to create some room so they can possibly do something down here.
Carter tackled inbounds, so the clock will continue to run as it brings up 2nd down and 5. Seems as though the Nightmare are content, really, with this 6-6 game, possibly at the half, in no hurry to get up to the line of scrimmage.
What you want to do is just protect that football at this point. Take what you can get down, keep the ball secure, no turnovers down here to give the Raptors any kind of chance to come back.
Neal to the right. He takes the snap, and he'll barge right up through the middle of the field. And it's about a 3-yard gain on the play.
And that's good team tackling coming up because that is a big boy down there running the football.
Neal listed at 6 foot, 275 pounds, his 3rd season in the league.
When 275 pounds is coming at you, you better get low, and you better keep your feet moving to make that tackle.
Can you run in the opposite direction, away from him? Or
you could, but it wouldn't help the team.
Under 20 seconds to play until halftime. Carter takes the snap. He's got some time. He'll go deep down the far sideline. Looking for Weston. It's incomplete.
That was great coverage down the field.
With 12 seconds left in the first half, that'll bring up a 4th down for Cole County. Well, we expect Bostic to come onto the field, number 3, and he does indeed, for the Nightmare to boot this one away.
And it looks like Matt Default back there to return the kick. This would be a perfect time to return one with 12 seconds left. With the inability to get the ball down the field from the quarterback, special teams has to come up big here.
Got a couple of people in the chat. Shout out to them, and thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it. Max Gretzel and Ian Cooper calling the game, presented by B&B Media here as we near halftime. So the ball will be placed on the 2-yard line for the Nightmare. Bostic with a pretty solid punt down the field. And there could be a block in the back. Indeed there is, as the ball's picked up and moved forward for about 5 yards. And on that note, the horn sounds. Pretty obvious block in the back there, Ian.
Absolutely. That's something you don't want to do, especially this late in the first half with an opportunity to return that ball. However, the Nightmare should decline it and take this to the second half.
Well, we'll see what the referees decide to do here if they want to put any time back on the clock. The penalty is declined on that note, Ian. And that'll end the first half. So after scores on the first 2 possessions for both sides, they're held scoreless the rest of the way. It's halftime here in Exeter Township. 6-6 is your score. We'll see you for the halftime report right after this. Welcome back to Don Thomas Stadium, everyone. It's halftime, and we are here in the booth. Max Gretzula alongside Ian Cooper. It's been a back-and-forth battle, just not a ton of points. Both teams scored on their first possession of the ballgame. It's 6-6 currently, and both teams missed their two-point conversions as well. What do you see so far?
So far, defense, defense, defense. The front three, the front four for the Raptors have been all over the place. Kyle Lash, Nori Falby, Burgess. Up front, those guys have been putting pressure on the quarterback. That's why he's not been comfortable in that pocket, and he can't get rid of the football. A lot of runs, which is what their big plays have been. But other than that, the Reading defense have stymied the Nightmare offense.
Let's talk about that first possession of the game because there's been multiple opportunities in plus field position for this Raptors team, and they took advantage of it on the opening drive. You had Santana rush one in, but since then, there's also been other opportunities, and it hasn't gone that way, especially on the ground.
Yeah, with the wet football, the Raptors are having a lot of issues controlling it. We've had 2 turnovers, two fumbles. They just need to secure the ball. They need to come out and focus. And offensively, they need to come up with a better game plan because the quarterback's unable to get the ball down the field, and the receivers aren't getting open.
Ruiz, Williams, and Jones. It's been somewhat of a three-headed monster for the most part in the backfield, along with Santana doing it himself on the ground. Do you expect that to continue here in the second half?
I do. I expect them to come out with that 2-back, the wing set with Brooklyn Wells. He's doing a great job getting around the corner and making that initial block on the linebackers to spring them for 4, 5, 6 yards every single play.
Not a ton of motion, especially from Pyers. 2 weeks ago, we saw him in motion a ton. Not so much here tonight. Do you expect that to change here and try to get this passing game moving on in a positive way here in the second half?
Unless there's a change during halftime with the quarterback play, I don't see them moving back to that open formation when they've had success running the football. That last drive was a little bit different from the Raptors. I'm not sure if they're getting fatigued, if some things have changed. However, the Nightmare defense has been stepping up, and they made 2 big plays in the backfield from the Raptors.
Solid defense on both sides. Let's talk about the Raptors defense, and you touched on it just briefly momentarily, just a moment ago really for the most part. When you talk about Williams in the secondary, he comes away with an interception on one of the first opening drives of this game. He also has 2 pass deflections as well. So if they've stepped up in a pretty big-time way, but the Nightmare has as well. So it's really going to come down to the turnover battle, and you touched on that during the broadcast. Whoever wins the turnover battle usually walks away with victories. And do you expect there to be more turnovers here as we get into the second half? I feel like it can go either way.
I would hope not. You try to make those halftime adjustments. If you're wearing gloves, take them off. If you have used that same ball during the whole first half, come out with a new ball. Anything to change the outcome of some of these plays that have been detrimental to the Raptors offense.
I talk about it going back and forth just because there's not going to be as many pass opportunities like we saw 2 weeks ago. But the fumbles could come into play as we saw a scoop and score, earlier in that first half for the Nightmare. It's Max Gretzula, it's Ian Cooper, and it's GEFA Football presented by B&B Media. Stick with us. We'll see you for second half action right after this. 6-6 games that we 6-6 game, excuse me, as we begin this third quarter. The Raptors will boot it away to the Nightmare. And what we saw early on in the game was some scoring. What we haven't seen since is some scoring. And we'll see if that changes here in the second half.
That's right. And a big development with the Raptors, Tanner White has shown up, and he does plan to suit up and play.
Well, Tanner White, we saw him 2 weeks ago. And he was able to provide an offensive spark. It was the defense and, of course, the turnovers, which ultimately doomed the Raptors team. And we'll see if that can change here today. A much more low-scoring game than what we're accustomed to seeing over the previous couple of weeks here in the GEFA.
Yeah, and Tanner's a good quarterback. He's had a lot of pressure in his face the first couple games, a lot of turnovers, a little bit of inconsistency at the receiver play, the line play around him. But with the protection holding up today, we'll see if he's able to get in there, complete the first pass of the game, and be able to put the ball down the field.
Fontenez will boot it away. And the Nightmare bobble the pass, or I should say the kick. And still on his feet and moving forward is Weston, and he's tackled there right around the 20-yard line.
Pretty good pickup on that return. Made a couple shifty moves, able to break the first tackle, and picked up about 15 yards on that return.
Well, I've never seen a quarterback, other than in movies, show up at halftime and then come into the game. So we'll see what White has to offer in the second half. Carter will be back to work at the helm. And we'll see what he can do. His first drive with the Nightmare on the offensive side of things. He'll take the snap on first down, shiftiness in the open field, and he'll pick up a gain that was short and turned into a little bit more as he tumbles forward over midfield.
Carter continues to be the sole offense for the Nightmare. His rushing attempts, his rushing yards have been the only way they're actually moving the ball down the field.
Carter listed here as a running back, so we weren't sure who was going to start this game to begin it for this Nightmare squad. And when we saw him on the first play, thought it may have been a Wildcat formation with how much rain that we've gotten here at Don Thomas Stadium, but he's been in the game ever since, and he's leading the charge in a tie ball game. Neal still out there to the left of Carter on second down and short. Carter will try the other side this time. He finds a hole, and it's only going to be a 1-yard gain as Lash comes away with the stop.
And there's Lash again on another tackle for loss. Again, he does lead the league in tackles for loss and continues to dominate them up front.
So that'll bring up a third down and short. It's back-to-back rushing plays for Cole County, and we'll see what they provide for the audience on third down. White continues to warm up on the sidelines, throwing balls to Pyers and Jones as well out there, helping out his quarterback. Third down. Raptors trying to get off the field, and it would be a solid start to state the obvious as we begin this third quarter. And, of course, there's a penalty. It'll be a jump from Weston as the receiver stepped across the line of scrimmage.
That's a killer on third down. You have a third down, 3 to 4 yard situation. Now you jump back to 3rd and 8. Now obvious passing down.
Well, the passing from both quarterbacks today has been suspect, to say the least. And you mentioned it, Ian. The Nightmare will be forced into a passing situation here on 3rd and a little bit longer now after they're backed up from the 5-yard penalty.
The thing with the GEFA and these small fields, 3rd and 8, you could still actually run the ball 2 times here because they're almost at midfield, even though they're backed up on their own half of the field.
Carter, empty backfield. And I think we have some movement up front. It'll be offside. And the Raptors give it right back. So not what you want to see on the defensive side of things.
A little bit too antsy. They got to hold their water, understand the situation. But, yeah, you can't give the yardage right back and put them in a 3rd and manageable situation.
Well, your point earlier could play even more of a factor here, as the 5 yards are gained back via the penalty by the Nightmare. So they could possibly go for those 2 rushing attempts you mentioned.
Yeah, correct. We'll see what they come out with. It looks like another empty set. So you're really limiting the blocking coming downhill to blow up that Raptors front.
Weston has man-to-man coverage on the bottom of your screen. Carter takes the snap. He's got to throw it, and it'll go deep down the field for Weston, and it goes right through his hands. It's incomplete. And there's the wet ball situation coming into play. Rain continues to pour down here at Don Thomas Stadium, and don't want to make excuses for players, but certainly could have played a factor right there.
Even though he got his hands on the ball, I don't think he would have stayed in the back of the end zone. He was approaching the back of the end zone quickly, and that ball fell about a yard or 2 beyond the back of the end zone.
So that'll bring up a 4th down and manageable. Bostic in the huddle, and it looks like he will step onto the field and possibly boot this one away. And in a 6-6 game, do you agree with that situation here and that call early on in the 3rd quarter?
If you have the chance, you want to pin him down, especially with the inability to move the Raptors' inability to move the ball down the field minus that first drive. So I definitely agree with the punt here.
Well, it will indeed be a punt, and the Raptors will bring it out. It's Williams. He'll get upfield, and he'll pick up about 10 yards coming out of the end zone.
I'm surprised Williams actually returned that ball because he took it about 5 yards deep in the end zone. It was a 15-yard return. However, that only counts for about 10 once he returns it. And we do have Tanner White making his way onto the field.
Tanner White, who threw for a couple of touchdowns 2 weeks ago right here on this field, will come on in replace of Santana at the quarterback position. Fontenez, top of your screen, will go in motion. And White takes the snap. He'll throw on 1st down. It's Jones out of the backfield. It's a screen. And he will lose his balance and was never touched. No whistle on the play. And Jones will go across the field, now over midfield at that, and he's tackled. Right in Nightmare territory.
And that's not understanding the rules. He was never touched down. It's just like the NFL. If you're not touched, you are not down. So smart by the Raptors sideline to tell him to get up and run.
Yeah, Jones didn't even know the rule, it seemed, as he was jogging back to the huddle before his teammates told him to start running forward, and he did just that. Solid pickup. And whether it be physical or mental mistakes, they both play a factor, and you see a mental one right there from the Nightmare defense.
Yeah, and just like that, with Tanner White coming in, first pass play and first completion of the game.
Tanner White wears number 9. And we'll keep an eye on him, especially in a close ball game like we have right now. We'll see if he's able to provide a spark. And so far, so good, as the referees and a couple of coaches are in discussion at midfield about what we just saw, and that was Jones coming out of the backfield, catching a screen pass, falling down, and he was never touched, so he gets up and trucks along for about a 25-yard gain.
I think the question is, did the player give himself up when he got up slowly and didn't make a football play? So they're having that discussion now of, will it be a dead ball where it was at because he gave himself up, or will they allow the play? And it looks like they're going to bring it back.
Well, you mentioned it. Jones backpedaling, White working his way back as well. So you bring up a good point there. It looked like he did give himself up. Whether he meant to do it or not, that's up for debate.
From the booth, it looked like he gave up. He was ready to take the ball back down the line and give it to the referee before he actually realized he was not touched.
Jones remains on the field for the Raptors. Chains will need to be reset, and you see the chain gang getting back into position. K-Shop Gallery and Glass Studio, home of the Red and Glass Militia. 3rd time's a charm. White in the shotgun. Jones to his left. Pyers will go in motion at the top of your screen. White takes the snap, fakes the throw, hands it off to Jones. He's got nowhere to go, and he's tackled in the backfield.
Again, second straight play. Jones loses his footing and lose some yardage. Now we come to a third and obvious passing situation with White. Let's see if he can do anything with getting the ball down the field.
Fontenez back onto the field. On third down, Pyers now will go in motion at the bottom of your screen. White back to throw, and he gets it out quickly. That's the first completion of the game for the Raptors, but it's not going to be enough. So that'll bring up fourth down. White still has not come off the field, and Pyers hasn't either. So we'll see what Coach Donaldson decides on fourth.
Well, if they were smart in playing the way this game has flowed, you would punt it here. Little late decision.
But it looks like that's what they're going to do as White jogs off the field.
And Hanna coming on for his third punt. The first two punts ended up in the nightmare red zone. See what he does here.
Hanna boots it away, and another liner, and a low one at that as it trickles out of bounds, and it'll be placed right around the 11-yard line. So not the worst punt ever, not the best, certainly, and we'll see the nightmare offense back onto the field. Back and forth we go here in Exeter Township. No points still on the scoreboard in this third quarter. Something has to give as we continue in the second half.
Yeah, you're looking for one breakout play by either team, and it just hasn't come. They haven't been able to get the ball down the field. Someone's going to have to break a tackle and make something happen here.
I'm sure you played in ball games like this as a player. Do you feel the pressure in tight situations as you get deeper into a game, especially when it's knotted up?
You do. However, you have to embrace that nervousness, that game flow, and understanding the circumstances.
Well,
again, you take what you can get with these kind of conditions.
Well, Lash was chasing Carter there in the backfield, hit him low, and Carter's shaken up. But you see Carter firing one deep over the middle, trying to spark this offense, and it's incomplete. Carter over to the sideline. He'll get the play from his head coach. And it'll bring up a second down and 10. So there you go, the deep shot on first and 10, not there. But you got to like to see it from either side, really, at this point, trying to spark their clubs.
Yeah, he tried to get the ball downfield. However, Truesdale, a.k.a. True, was down there to apply the coverage.
True money, baby. True money. Second down and 10. Carter loses the handle, picks it up, has to scramble away. Thought about throwing it out of bounds, and he escapes. Looking to the far sideline now, and he's tackled there. Big-time tackle from Wells. He's done it as a blocker on the offensive side of things, and now on the defense.
I think we might have a face mask from Brooklyn Wells on the tackle.
Lash shaken up after the play, holding that groin, it seems, and not when you want to see if you're a Raptors fan. Your best pass rusher struggling to get off the football field.
Best pass rusher and arguably the best defensive player on this field.
So with Lash off the field and on the sidelines, a little gimpy, that'll bring up a third down. And the defensive line for the Raptors will be asked to do just a little bit more without arguably their best player. Again, this drive started for the Nightmare on their own 11-yard line. They've gained 9 yards since.
On that face mask, it should be a first down here. Chain Gang has to get with it a little bit.
And indeed, you mentioned it. Face mask coming into play. Hard to see from our vantage point, of course, from across the field. But indeed, it was a face mask. And again, I should say, the Raptors shooting themselves in the foot. But again, still, the Nightmare on their side of the field as Carter is bottled up and brought down. So right after the face mask, It's a negative gain of about 4 or 5 for the Nightmare. And as long as the penalties can start to dissipate for the Raptors, it seems as though overall their defense has played very, very solid here tonight.
Absolutely, and there's Burgess again. We called his name a bunch in the first half, and there he comes up with a big sack on first down and set him up with a second down and long.
Under 5 to play in the third quarter. We're knotted at 6 still. No points scored in both the second and now third quarters. And you see this a lot of the times. Really in any sport, you talk about pitchers' duels in baseball. Nothing, maybe 1-1 late into the ball game. This the same way. It could be going to the fourth quarter momentarily with a 6-6 game, only 2 touchdowns total in this one.
Yeah, this is what we call defensive struggle. You just keep pushing back and forth and see which offense can actually come away.
Carter on 2nd and 15 takes the snap. He's got some time. He'll escape to the near sideline in front of his own bench, and he's brought down.
And there's Burgess again with back-to-back sacks.
Carter slow to get up. And he gets to his feet.
And Burgess filling in great over that nose. That's where the Raptors have been getting pressure all game long. It was right up the middle on that front.
Carter and Rodriguez over there on the far sideline, as is Weston. And Weston seems to be, at least in my opinion, possibly their best receiver. And we've seen him go in motion plenty. And on that note, the Nightmare will call time. So we'll take a quick stop. It's 3:21 to play. It's a 6-6 game here at Exeter Township. Back here to have a timeout. The Nightmare have a third down and a long way to go. Carter takes the snap. He fields it cleanly, as he wasn't able to do so on a few possessions throughout today, and he's pushed out of bounds right in front of his own bench. So a mini pickup, but it'll bring up fourth down ultimately.
Yeah, fourth down long. Brooklyn Wells able to make that stop and push him out of bounds before he gets any more yardage.
Well, that'll bring on Bostic to presumably pump this one right back to the Raptors offense.
And it looks like we're getting a little chippy down on the field. Raptors need to keep their head when they're over by that Nightmare sideline.
Tale of 2 games, if you caught the Raptors' last 2 home games at least. Like a 46-34 loss 2 weeks ago. High-scoring game right here on this field. And tonight, it's a different story as we're into May. And it certainly doesn't feel that way, I'll tell you that.
And special teams play could be something huge right here.
It's a fake punt. Bostic trying to find some room, and he's got upfield. It's going to be short of a first down, however.
And that's going to be Raptors ball. He's about 2 yards short after the tackle.
Well, the fake punt, you could argue, turns into a bad punt either way. As he did, and when I say he, I mean Bostic, got upfield for a pretty solid game, just not enough.
Yeah, broke a couple tackles, but not able to keep his footing for that last 2.
Worst case scenario for the Nightmare was, they worked their way backwards. At this point, at least they got the ball over midfield. So, again, still solid field position overall as White clears the backfield. He'll take the snap on first down, look for some help, and he's got his man over the middle of the field. It's incomplete, however.
Tight coverage, but Corley has to make that catch. Good pass from White.
It was right in Corley's numbers. And On that note, I think he'll come off the field again. Coach Donaldson not too happy.
As you shouldn't be. You get an opportunity to make a play, you have to come down with that and help out your offense.
Especially how they've been struggling here so far today. That'll bring up a 2nd down and 10. Go back to that fake punt. Do you agree with that decision? And when I say he could, when you talk about if he did punt it, call it a shank or whatever you want. If he did that, it's basically the same result as he picked up a pretty solid game in Boston.
He did pick it up, but you never know in these wet conditions whether the return man's going to be able to field it cleanly or not.
Well, Fontenez trying to find some running room and can't do so.
That was good containment by the Nightmare D end, able to make Fontenez cut it upfield to where all the help was, where the linebackers were.
Well, that'll bring up a 3rd down and long. Again, White found Jones for the first completion of the game. It was earlier on in this 3rd quarter for the Raptors. And he'll need to do it again here on 3rd down if they want to extend this drive. And he'll throw to the outside. Fontenez has his first catch of the game.
And that's a solid gain of about 8 or 9 yards, and that allows the Raptors to possibly go for it here on 4th down, being on their half of the field.
Very decisive decision there from White, something we didn't see from Santana in the first half, as he got the ball out quickly and found Fontenez for a chunk.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they have to do. Get the ball out quick. White is still playing a little hurt, playing a little injured. Get the ball out of his hands so he's not taking any extra hits than he has to.
4th down and 3. White has an empty backfield. Fontenez to the near sideline. Pyre's in the slot. And White will fire and give it to him, but it's intercepted right through the hands of Fontenez, who gives up on the play. And again, a nightmare. Who's going to win the turnover battle? We talked about it, Ian. And right there, you see on display the defense coming alive.
Yeah, and that's exactly what's been hurting the Raptors all season long is turnovers. And here's another one. I believe it is the 3rd turnover of the game for the Raptors and the first interception. However, that's got to be caught. That's a 2nd drop pass we saw by the receivers this drive.
Corley and Fontenez, 2 relatively reliable receivers. They both started this game on opposite sides of each other, and they dropped 2 crucial passes in the 3rd quarter. 30 seconds to go at that. And you got to be pretty frustrated right now if you're a Raptors fan. Again, right on the hands of Fontenez. So 2 solid throws from White, 2 incomplete passes, however, and 1 obviously resulting in an interception.
Absolutely, and you're seeing a change in the Raptors' offense. They're going more spread, no back.
Carter unable to handle the low snap, and he just has to fall on it. So that'll bring up a 2nd down and 13.
He's bobbled the ball or had a bad snap several times this half, and that seems to be an issue ongoing. We'll see if that plays a role ending the 3rd quarter into the 4th quarter.
Well, we talk about how important any sport is really when you talk about both physically and mentally. And as the defense goes out back onto the field for the Raptors, you got to think about their mentals, right? When you continue to get stops, but your offense continues to hurt you, and you touched on it at the top of the broadcast.
Absolutely. You just have to keep grinding, keep making the plays, and keep tackling. Do your thing, and defense will step up.
12 minutes of game action left at Don Thomas Stadium. No scoring in that 3rd quarter, and we'll head to the 4th. It's a 6-6 game. out of a timeout. Second down and 13. Carter has Neal in the backfield. He takes the snap. He doesn't give it to him. He'll take it himself, looking for some running room, and he doesn't really have any. Pickup of about 1. And again, Ian, that'll bring up a third down and long. The Raptors defense continues to be stout.
Yeah, and just like that, I saw the motor on Lash during that play. He initially fell down on the backside of that play and came around the end to make the tackle on that. The kid has a motor on him. He doesn't give up. He's strong. He's fast. I look for him to keep dominating the rest of this game.
Well, when you have a player of his skill set, that is, super impressive for him to really line up anywhere on the defensive line and make plays. And you talked about him being on the backside of that play right there, still getting the tackle. And it's good to see him back out there after, injury scare on that last possession.
New formation.
Looks like Neal may chip. Carter takes the snap. Weston goes in motion. It's a screen play. He's got it, and he's tackled there for a negative gain.
Yeah, not much going there. Throwing it backfield. That is their first completion of the game. Comes with 11 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Just trying to do something to get the ball out of Carter's hands so someone else can try to make a play.
Never good if you look in the stat sheet during the fourth quarter, and your passing attack is 1 for, let's say, 10 with negative 4 yards, and they're still tied in this one. Unbelievable.
Yep, plus or minus 10 on that, but nonetheless, just not good conditions to throw the football. Trying to do what he can. A couple of nice throws there, but not able to come down with them inbounds. So we got 4th and 13.
Bostic boots it away, and on that note, it'll bounce, trickle, and hop into the end zone for a touchback. And I will say this, during that offensive possession for the Nightmare, you had White throwing on the sidelines to both Crowley and Fontenez, so great to see them continuing to at least try and get on the same page after 2 huge drops became a part of this storyline as we played this third quarter.
Yeah, and this is something that's been going on for the past couple of weeks, is that confidence in the receivers to be able to, for one, run their routes really hard like they're supposed to, and then 2, come down with the football when it's thrown to them.
Well, I'll continue to say it, but the biggest drive of the game so far, arguably, for this Raptors offense, as White is back on the field. Again, if you're just joining us, it was Santana who started at the quarterback position in the first half, and only scoring 6 points was the offense of Berks County. White throws that one in the turf, and it'll be an incomplete pass. It'll bring up 2nd down and 10.
So the way the Nightmares running their defense, they're coming down and double coverage on the receiver in high motion, which is usually Pyers. They got to start doing something to get the ball to the backside receivers who are one-on-one.
Pyers to the far sideline. Fontenez to the near. Williams was in the backfield, and now he'll go in motion. Fontenez thought about taking the carry. Instead, White pulls it. Looks for Pyers, and it's incomplete. He had him open, just misfired.
He did, and that's a really unconventional play call. You have everyone lined up on the left, minus Wilson. He goes in motion to the left, and then you roll White out to the right and throw across his body. We've seen them that same play 2 weeks ago, and it turned into a pick 6. That's something that the offensive coordinator for the Raptors has to see what they can do to make that play work, or just throw it in the trash altogether.
It's 3rd down and 10. The Raptors have gone away from the rushing attack here on this possession. It's back-to-back throws and back-to-back incompletions at that for White. We'll see what he can do on 3rd down. Normally what we saw 2 weeks ago was his go-to guy being Pyers as he lines up in the slot on the near sideline. White takes the snap. Pretty good protection. Now he gets flushed to his right. Has plenty of time.
And he has Fontenez
deep down the middle of the field, and Fontenez able to come up with the completion.
Absolutely good catch. Got his hands and his knees under that ball to come up with it. White had him early on, but didn't see him, but was able to create time to make that play.
The White and Fontenez connection is alive and well on that play. And there's the first big play of the game for either side, minus the touchdowns. Again, 6-6 here in the fourth quarter.
And there you see what White can do, especially when he's healthy. He's able to move around, create time to allow his wide receivers to get down the field and make a play.
White fakes the handoff to Fontenez this time. He's decisive. He'll fire, and it's intercepted. How fast things can change as LeGrand picks off White, and he's tackled out of bounds.
And that is the same play call that we just talked about 2 plays ago, where everyone is to White's left, and he rolls out right, and it was intercepted, just like it was 2 weeks ago. But however, the Raptors were able to make the stop and make that tackle on an unconventional play.
White tried to thread the needle, and he pays the price. LeGrand shaken up after the play as well as he jogs off gingerly to his sideline. Ball placed just over midfield, so the Nightmare will get the ball in Raptors territory. 9:01 to play in the fourth quarter.
Raptors defense needs to come up big here to keep their offense in the game here.
And on the other side of things, the Nightmare offense looking for a lightning strike. 1st and 10. Carter takes the snap. He'll scramble out to the right, and he's tackled there for no gain.
And there's that pressure up front. Lash seems to be getting up slowly again.
On that note, Lash will walk off the field. And again, he's frustrated. And for obvious reasons, he's been absolutely dominant on that defensive line.
I didn't quite see what happened or why he's injured, if it's an injury or if it's just an equipment malfunction.
Could be his helmet not being up to par. I thought initially it could have been him not getting any calls there on the defensive line, possibly being held just multiple times. Maybe we haven't seen it. Carter takes the snap with Neal to his left. He'll fire, and that one is way off the mark, incomplete on the far sideline.
Yeah, same thing. After 3 quarters of getting hit and pressured, Carter never set his feet to make that throw to an open receiver.
That'll bring up a 3rd down. And 10 to go. White, Fontenez, and Pyers in discussion on the Raptors sideline, along with Jones. And, of course, those guys will be able to get back on the field shortly and try to give their team a spark. It was night and day on 2 plays in a row. A bomb to Fontenez for a completion, and then an interception by LeGrand on the play after.
Yeah, how quickly the game can change, and at some point this game it's going to change. One of these teams has to score.
3rd and 10, just over 8 to go in the fourth quarter. Carter back to pass on 3rd down. He'll fire down the far sideline, and that's complete. And tackled out of bounds is James. So how about that? A big-time play late in this ball game. It's a 3rd down conversion, and that'll set up the Nightmare in great field position.
Yeah, it looked like Truesdale just kind of fell asleep back there with not getting a lot of action, and then all of a sudden the slot receiver pops open in his zone, and the quarterback was able to get him the ball and get that 1st down.
Well, I tell you what, I don't want to have to line up on the side that Moore is blocking, number 70, because he is an absolute mountain.
He definitely is. Definitely makes the guys across the ball from him look like midgets.
Moore listed at 6'7", 340 pounds. So good luck trying to get past him. Neal to the left of Carter. It's 1st down and goal from the 8-yard line. Carter takes the snap. He'll try the left side, and he's tackled there by Lash, coming from the backside again. And Lash, on that note, slow to get up.
Again, whatever's bothering him continues to affect him, and looks like his left arm, and that's a tough sight to see with your best defensive player going down.
Lash slow to get up. He's been banged up throughout this ball game, but this time he doesn't get up. We'll step aside and be right back after this. Lesh able to get off the field under his own power. Seemed to be some sort of stinger as he gets looked at by the athletic training staff on the near sideline. Carter, on that note, takes the snap on second down, scrambling away from a couple defenders. Looks like we could have a hold there, Ian, as Carter is tackled for a short gain.
Absolutely. That's going to be a hold. Nori Fable able to create the pressure so much that the Nightmare offense just had to hold him to keep him away from the quarterback. This pressure continues to be a nuisance for Carter.
So it'll be a 10-yard penalty and push the Nightmare back up the field. Carter in discussion with a couple of teammates and his head coach, as it's James and Neal alongside with him. Neal wears the C on his chest. It's a golden one at that, so he's been around a while. And he's trying to protect his quarterback at all costs in the backfield.
I think we had a little issue with the spot of the football. It should have been a 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. However, they took it from where the play ended.
After the dust settles, the ball's placed on the 16-yard line. Second down and goal after the Nightmare get backed up. Carter takes the snap. He's going to throw, escapes some pressure, loses the ball momentarily, and we have yet another flag. Carter to the near sideline, and he's tackled out of bounds.
And that's going to be another.
Go ahead.
That's going to be another hold on the offense. 78.
I was going to say had to be.
And that's again Nori Fable,
right?
Who's creating that pressure and causing the Nightmare to hold him.
Multiple offensive penalties on this drive now for the Nightmare.
And that should push the ball back closer to midfield, making it second and goal from the 25.
You ever see a second and goal from midfield? Not too many times for me, at least.
Definitely not too many. These short fields definitely create different situations that normally happen on the football field. And it looks like the Raptors have decided to decline that penalty.
The solar lights pop on here at Exeter Township High School as the sun, which we really didn't see today, sets and the darkness pours over Don Thomas Stadium. Again, darker here than what you see on your TV screen. We're able to light up that camera angle a little bit. Sometimes you see that in golf too, when some of those major tournaments get dark quickly.
And with the play clock running out, the Nightmare are forced to take their timeout, which could be an issue with only 6:20 in a tie ball game. You waste a timeout on to save a delay game 5-yard penalty.
Max Gretzula and Ian Cooper on the call for B&B Media and the flagship network. It's GEFA Football. We'll be back after this. It's third down and goal from the 14-yard line. Carter in the shotgun with Neal to his right. A big play here is an understatement. Carter takes the snap. He's back to throw. Gets rid of it quickly, and he's got a completion on the far sideline. James yet again comes through.
That is a heck of a catch again underneath of Truesdale. But Truesdale able to make that tackle to save it from a touchdown. We got 4th and goal.
Well, on the last big third down, we saw Truesdale get beat by James and unfortunately gets beat again. But you're right, it'll bring up a 4th down from about the 3 or 4 yard line.
With this fourth down, you're looking at probably one of the biggest plays of the game thus far.
Options are on the table here, of course, only at the 3.5-yard line with the rush. And, of course, Carter has that ability. He takes a snap. And we have a whistle. Could have been a false start?
Possibly one of the receivers out there moving around a little bit, but I didn't see much.
Especially because the referees let that play continue past the snap. Side official in discussion. And we'll see what the call is. False start?
Yeah, it looked like the D-back moved, which caused the wide receiver to flinch just a little bit to get that penalty.
So that'll bring up 4th down and goal from the 9-yard line. As these teams go back and forth from the penalty side of things on this possession.
Well, this moves them back into passing situation, pretty much eliminating that run from Carter unless he's able to break free by scrambling. But I would look at them to go up top again at Truesdale.
Neal still to the right of Carter. We've seen that formation on 3 straight plays, and we have yet another whistle and a flag.
Another false start. Nightmare just shooting themselves in the foot.
This possession has come a nightmare for the Nightmare. As they continue to work backwards now over the last couple of plays. Again, it was a big 3rd down completion between Carter and James. And now, all of a sudden, the ball is back to the 14-yard line. It's 4th and goal.
Just like this game has been back and forth, this drive for the Nightmare has been back and forth.
Just over 5 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. It's been a long possession offensively for the Nightmare, and you have to wonder if that defense is starting to bend and possibly break shortly for the Raptors. Been out there for a long period of time, and Lash, who continues to come on and off the field, still not playing at 100%.
But Burgess lining up over that nose, he's also been a big factor when he's been in there. He's made back-to-back sacks.
Carter bobbles the snap. Picked up by the Raptors. Well, how about that? Unbelievable change of events. And really, for the most part, Carter has to be able to really get the ball moving forward on 4th down. That's to state the obvious. But again, no punting situation, of course. So the ball still deep in the Raptors' territory. Not the worst thing ever for the Nightmare, especially when it's 4th down and goal from the 14-yard line.
Absolutely. And now the Raptors here just made a big play. They got to keep their heads. Their youth and inexperience is coming up big here. They need to get him off the field, or else he's going to get a penalty and back up the offense, who needs every bit of advantage they can get right now.
Quick note, Kyle Lash started to go up towards the locker room. Instead, he'll change his mind and turn around. He's not done yet, and you got to give him credit to be able to fight through injury and stay in the ball game. We'll see how long he can, however. And I think he may have just gone back to get his helmet. And again, he's looking pretty fine as far as maybe just an equipment issue. You touched on that previously as well.
Oh, yeah, and his face mask is almost completely off, so he had some broken clips. But he also has that left arm, left wrist issue. And here's a good counter play.
Well, Jones has a monstrous run out across midfield. And with only 5 minutes remaining in this game, that is just the most timely play possible for this Raptors offense at the highest of levels.
See if they can build on that play and stay mistake-free for the rest of this drive. If they do that, they can move the football.
Based on the way this game is gone, you expect a penalty to come soon and back this Raptors offense up. That's just how it is.
Either a penalty or a turnover. Hopefully neither one of those happen.
Pyers in motion to the near side of the field, and backwards goes Jones after a monster game. It's a different result this time. And that'll bring up 2nd down and long.
Yeah, they tried to go counter, and the defense is just right on it. This play calling has to evolve, has to grow from that. If you go counter, You come back with play action, or get the ball out quick. That way you get the defense on their heels, not knowing what's coming next. But the play calling has shown a lot of repetition, and you can see the frustration on the Raptors right now.
Well, one big play turns into a negative right after. And that'll bring up second down and about 12. White in the shotgun. Jones to his left. He'll flip it to Pyers. And Pyers tries the far sideline. He's got a mini gain, and he's pushed out of bounds right into the Nightmare bench.
Not much on that play. Pyers almost 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage when he actually got the ball. He doesn't quite have the speed to get around that corner like some of the other Raptors players have.
Well, Pyers will jog off the field on that note. And it'll be 3rd and long, 11 to be exact. And we'll see what White can do at the quarterback position. Again, only 2 passes completed total in this one for the Raptors. And White will look to make it 3 possibly on this play.
And they come out with that 2-back set, usually a run out of this situation. We'll see what they do with White.
Wells goes in motion. White takes the snap, hands off. Jones tries to turn in the corner. He gets up the field, over midfield at that, and he's still pushing. We finally have a whistle. And Jones gets about half of the yards needed for a first down.
And that's going to give him the opportunity for a 4th and about 6.
There's a timeout on the field. 6-6 your score. 2:41 to play in the 4th quarter. Raptors are moving the ball. Fourth down and about 7. White takes the snap. He'll hand it off to Jones, who gets tripped up as he charges around the corner, and he's out of bounds. So the Raptors unable to come up with the 4th down conversion. And they'll turn it over on downs. Out come the Nightmare offense.
And I'm really surprised by that play call. You have 4th and 6. Get the ball out to one of your receivers. You've run that same formation, the same toss play many, many times during this game, and you come back with it again when you desperately need a first down to keep the offense on the field.
At least in my opinion, I thought with White in the game at the quarterback position, the offense and the receivers at that would get some confidence going under their heels, but it hasn't seemed that way as we played throughout the second half. 2:34 to go in the 4th quarter to be exact. And Carter back on the football field. Bostic, who's been punting the ball away for the Nightmare, is in the backfield on first down. Carter takes the snap. He'll pitch it out to Bostic. Gets his first touch of the game on the offensive side of things, and he's tackled after a gain of about 4.
And they were able to break containment. Nori Fable tried to come down and undercut that tackle and allowed the running back, Bostic, to get outside for a couple of yards.
Up 2:08 and counting in the 4th quarter.
And it looks like the Nightmare are just going to wait this out until the 2-minute warning.
Indeed, they will. Horn sounds. It's the 2-minute warning here at Don Thomas Stadium. Max Gretzel, Ian Cooper on the call for B&B Media and the Flagship Network. 2nd down and 6 upcoming for Carter and company. Bostic in motion. Carter has some time. He pump fakes. He'll throw it deep. It's a wobbly pass, and it's incomplete. A couple of black jerseys go for it. It's a miscommunication, and that'll bring up 3rd down.
Unfortunate circumstances for the Raptors because 2 of them had a beat on that ball, and they both played defense on each other.
Truesdale was one of them, and after getting beat on a couple of 3rd down plays at the defensive back position, I'm sure he's frustrated. He didn't come away with an interception.
Yeah, Sutton with the late pressure forced that ball to go high and short. Unfortunately, the Raptors couldn't capitalize.
So that'll bring up 3rd down. Bostic, who got a touch, remains in the game. Again, this is his first time on the field outside of punting the ball away. Again, he ran for 4 yards on first, or I should say, it looks like now 2 yards on 1st down. And 2nd down was an incompletion. Bostic again goes in motion. Carter scrambles out, tries to turn the corner. We have a flag as Carter is shoved out of bounds right in front of the Raptors bench.
Looks like a hold on number 9 from the Nightmare. Sutton was able to get pressure again, and he just reached out with the quarterback scrambling. Caused that hold.
Clock stops with 1 minute and 40 seconds.
Hold. Penalty is declined. 1st down.
Fourth down and 8.
Minute 40 left in the game. 4th down and 9.
Here's a good opportunity for the Raptors special teams to make a play. They've pressured the punter a couple times. See if they're able to get through and block one.
Bostic gets a touch at the running back position, and now he'll punt it away on 4th down. Williams back to receive as that one trickles into the end zone for a touchback.
And that is an absolutely terrible call. Nori Fable dove and was pushed at the same time, barely touching the kicker.
Running into the kicker will be the call, Ian.
And the kicker definitely flopped on that. He looked like LeBron James out there.
Well, you talk about turnovers, you talk about big plays, both positive and negative. And right there, you chalk that one up in the negative category for the Raptors as they allow this drive to continue for the Nightmare. 1:33 to play in the 4th quarter, and it's going to be a 15-yard penalty. And you talked about the dimensions of this field. 15 yards is a man's width here on this turf.
Correct. And with the personal foul in the GEFA, it's actually only 10 yards that they're given, but it's an automatic 1st down.
Well, you can argue that the automatic 1st down, of course, is even more important than the yardage because at this point, only one score is pretty much needed, barring a miracle with only 1:33 to play in the 4th quarter.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So the Nightmare will need to go 20 yards in 1 minute and 33. They'll have a fresh set of downs after the Raptors ran into the kicker. And it was a personal foul penalty. Carter takes the snap on 1st down at that. He backpedals, shifts, throws, almost Patrick Mahomes-like, and it's out of bounds.
There was no receiver even close to that. And it looks like
intentional grounding is the call. So, again, a late whistle at that. But, again, they get it right, do the referees, and it'll back up this Nightmare offense. Both teams continue to shoot themselves in the foot. At this point, that's even saying an understatement based on how many penalties each of them have had throughout this 2nd half especially.
Yeah, and that's going to be a loss of 5 and, more importantly, 2nd down.
Temperatures continue to drop. Rain, for the most part, has subsided. Nightmare offense trying to come up clutch late stages of this fourth quarter.
These past couple plays, the Raptors up front defensively haven't gotten as much pressure as they were earlier. They're starting to deteriorate.
Carter back to pass on 2nd and 15. He loses his balance. He escapes the pressure momentarily, and he's dropped.
And just like that, there's Burgess for another play and another sack. And Carter seems to be down.
Carter, the Nightmare quarterback, slow to get up, as he's been beaten and banged around throughout these 4 quarters. We'll step aside. There's an injury timeout. 6-6 ball game. Out of a timeout, it's 4th down. Nightmare offense still on the field. And without their quarterback now, Carter, who is on the sidelines getting looked at, Neal will line up in the backfield. Take the snap, he'll heave one, and it's intercepted by the Raptors.
And that's one, if you're falling down, just bat it down. If you bat that ball down, you actually gain 14 yards. The awareness has to be there, especially in a crucial situation where we're under 2 minutes. Bat the ball down, you get the ball around midfield. Now you just lost about 10 to 15 yards.
Couldn't agree with you more. And with only 1:06 to play, it'll be up to White and company to lead a quick charge down the field and walk out of Don Thomas Stadium with a victory. And it'll be the first of the year, if they can do so, for Berks County. Fontenez to the near sideline. It looks like Pyers will go in motion deep in the backfield. Ruiz to the left of White. On 1st down, he takes the snap. He's got a clean pocket, continues the shift. He'll fire. That's a nice ball, but it's incomplete, just out of the reach of Pyers across the field.
Yeah, he had Corley coming across, and Corley started to slow down, and Tanner put it where it should have been if Corley had kept his speed up.
Yeah, that's my apology. It was Corley across the middle of the field. And that'll bring up 2nd down and 10. So you got to like the offensive scheme, at least on that play. Trying to take a shot, obviously. Only 1:01 to play now at this point in the 4th quarter. Don't expect any more rushing attempts. Ruiz to the near sideline. Pyers in the slot. Crowley now off the field. White takes the snap. He's back. Another clean pocket. He'll go over the middle, and it's almost intercepted through the hands of Pyers in the middle of the field.
And that's now the 3rd drop we've seen just this half, and almost a 2nd incompletion from those drops. One from Fontenez, one from Corley, and now one from Pyers.
Corley comes back onto the field on that note. And it brings up a 3rd down and 10 for the Raptors. Skill players need to step up here in the 4th for the Raptors. Fontenez to the far sideline. Corley to the near sideline. Pyers goes in motion. White takes the snap, and instead will hand it off. It's a draw play up the middle, and it's a mini gain by Ruiz.
And we have a Nightmare player down.
I ain't playing with these niggas. I ain't playing with punt it, yo. Niggas might fuck out, throw a pick. We got it. Defense is good, yo. Punt it. Punt it. We good.
Isaiah Matthews shaken up on the play. We've yet another injury timeout. So after no injuries for the most part in the first 3 quarters of play, it all started with Lash going out with injury and has spiraled for both teams since. 46 seconds left in the fourth quarter, and we'll take a quick timeout and step aside. Be back right after this. Fourth down. Raptors offense just unable to really come up with any sort of momentum on that possession, and it looks like they'll punt it away. Fontenez has the honor at that as my papers continue to blow away here in the fourth quarter. And it's blocked.
And that is a legal play. If he can get the first down, he will not. He stopped short. The punt was blocked and then caught by a Raptors player. And he actually gained about 5
that's unbelievable.
yards.
Oh, my gosh. So you look for the big play. You talk about the turnovers. You talk about the penalties. And with 38 seconds to go, it's a blocked punt. And now the Nightmare will have the ball in Raptors territory looking to put the nail in the coffin.
And Carter seems to have come back in the game. And after that last throw, by Stewart, I would try to get Carter back in there as well with 38 seconds left.
So, again, with 38 seconds to go, you mentioned it, Ian, the Nightmare will have to go 20 yards for a score and a victory. Empty backfield for Carter as he only missed one play at the quarterback position after he was taken out to the sideline, and that one is nearly intercepted. Truesdale on the coverage.
And now the slick ball is playing havoc on the Nightmare as well. Their receiver in and out of his hands, and almost an interception by Truesdale.
Only 7 seconds go off the clock, and it brings up a 2nd down and 10 from the 20-yard line. Carter goes in the shotgun. We'll see if they go for the home run or try to chip away down the field. Carter scrambles to the near side, or should I say the far sideline. It's incomplete regardless.
And again, some pressure, but good job by Raptors. Nori Fable able to keep contained so Carter couldn't get around the corner for a couple yards.
That'll leave 25 seconds on the game clock and still 20 yards to go to the end zone. Are you surprised now not going for a couple of mini chunk plays to at least, not saying run the ball, but maybe a couple of quick hitters to somewhat give yourself a shot at the end zone as this fourth quarter is nearing, expiring, I should say?
I am a little surprised. Just pick up 4 or 5 yards here and there, get a little closer.
And try to give yourself a shot at the end zone.
Absolutely. Get out of bounds, stop the clock. But game management hasn't been the best in this game on both sides of the football.
Well, we'll see what Carter does here on 4th down.
And we got a player down.
I have no idea what happened there. It looks to be some sort of a non-contact issue.
Looked like he tried to get off the field from the previous play, just wasn't able to make it. Looks like possible groin or leg injury.
Well, another injury, and they're starting to pile up now, to say the least. We'll step aside and be right back. Back here to a timeout. A couple of players jawing as we near the end of the fourth quarter. And in a 6-6 game, at least I expect nothing different. Neal goes in motion, and Carter now has an empty backfield on third down. He takes the snap, he's back, he'll scramble to his left, and that one's batted down. I don't believe it was a forward pass, and the Raptors may possibly get in the end zone, and they don't. He's tackled at the 1.
1 yard line with 12 seconds left. Carter tried to throw the ball, had the ball fall out of his hand. It slipped out as his arm went forward. And Nori Fable comes up just short of the touchdown.
Well, Fable comes up big. As Lash got injured out of the game, Fable decided, you know what, I got to take things into my own hands. And he shows you on that play that he can come up big. Doesn't matter how late in the game it is, whether it be the first play or the last play. There's 12 seconds to go, and the Raptors fight to the end. A couple of injuries. I think there's one man down at least as both teams come circle him. Unbelievable play there, Ian. I mean, you never know what you're going to see. That's why you play all 4 quarters regardless of the sport. And, again, we talked about the wet conditions and really about how we expect the rushing attempts to skyrocket on that note. And this time, it's a passing situation, and it just falls right out of his hand. You saw that in the Super Bowl a few years ago with Hurts when he took the snap against the Chiefs, lost the handle, and it went all the way back for 6 the opposite direction.
Well, that's still a sour note with us Eagles fans. Yeah, unfortunately, that did happen, and it shows its ugly face again here for the Nightmare. And like we said all game, defense, defense, defense. Defense coming up big, special teams making some plays here and there, but offensively, now's the time to punch it in.
So the Nightmare will have to man up protecting the end zone from the 1 yard line.
I expect the Raptors to come out with their 2-back set.
Foley unable to punch that one in. And again, I agree with you. I think they should really try to stuff this one right up the gut, right?
Absolutely. I think what they're going to do is line up Brooklyn Wells to the left, motion him right, and then follow his block around that right side. That's been successful all game.
Yeah, definitely don't want to try to get too cute here, in my opinion. You have Ruiz jog off the field on first down. We have a whistle and a timeout, Raptors. Biggest play of the game. You won't want to miss it. It's 12 seconds left in the fourth quarter. First down and goal from the 1 yard line. Max Gretzula, Ian Cooper on the call for GEFA football. It's a tush push. We have a whistle before the play.
I think what we have is defensive offsides. And the play should count for a touchdown.
Offsides on the defense. And the penalties declined. And indeed.
And the Raptor style tush push.
And it is a touchdown. See, the referee did not single a touchdown, but he does now. So I wanted to pause and wait to see what the play would be. Or the decision, I guess, would be a better word to use. So White scores the touchdown on the tush push. And that has been pretty much universally used now in most leagues since the Eagles started in the NFL. So the 2-point conversion upcoming. You have a couple of players, just looks like they're calling it a quits. Headed to the locker room.
Raptors will go for one.
White will hand it off to Williams, who loses the handle. Ball's loose. A couple of bodies hit the turf. And it's an unsuccessful 2-point conversion.
Covered by 36. Conversion is no good.
And if something changes here, special teams-wise, that could come back big.
12 seconds to go in between what we saw here 2 weeks ago. Back and forth battle down the stretch of that fourth quarter. I'm not going to put anything past anyone on this football field, no matter the time or the score.
Yeah, we've seen it time and time again in this game. There's so many ups and downs. And right now the Raptors are up. Let's see if they can stay up to finish out this game with the last 12 seconds.
12-6 game, Raptors lead. And Berks County will boot this one away. So if they can lock up for 12 seconds, they will walk out of here with their first victory of the season.
And it looks like Fontenez coming out to kick this one away. I seen him in pregame warm-ups. His kicks weren't great. They were dribbling about 10 to 15 yards. So if the Nightmare are able to jump on this.
Well, Fontenez is a receiver, and it looks like he's going to get his leg used right here and try to boot this one away successfully. Whistle blows. Ball is kicked, and it's a pretty solid one. Straight up the gut. It jumps, it hops, it bounces, and here come the Nightmare. Trying to find some running room to the near sideline, over midfield. It is a big-time return with only 3 seconds to go.
But there is a penalty flag down.
We'll see what the call is. It's down around midfield. And if it's on the Raptors, it could be very costly, and indeed it is. A face mask on Berks County, so that'll extend an extra 10 yards towards the end zone. And the Nightmare will have a crack with only 2 seconds to go now at this point at the end zone to try to tie it up.
That's going to put the ball in the red zone around the 10-yard line.
Dramatics down the stretch here at Don Thomas Stadium.
And the Nightmare absolutely have a chance to get back in this ball game with 2 seconds left.
The Nightmare trying to turn these last 10 seconds into a dream finish.
I hope the league is watching and can hear me talking on this little microphone down on the field. James Simerson, you might want to fix your goddamn... Useless.
And it looks like the penalty was waved off. And the ball is going to be at around the 20-yard line. So one play, 20 yards. Can the Raptors up front get pressure again?
4 quarters of play comes down to this. Carter in the shotgun. He takes the snap. One more heave to the end zone. It's a wobbly pass, and it's incomplete. That'll do it. The Raptors win this one 12-6, and they get their first win of the season. They improved to 1-5. They're hyped up, and for good reason. What a game, ladies and gentlemen. Back and forth battle, a defensive one at that. It was 6-6 going into the late stages of the fourth quarter, and it was Nori Falby, the hero, as he comes up with the fumble recovery and brought it right down to the 1-yard line for Tanner White to punch it in via the tush push.
Yeah, great hard-fought game by both teams, especially defensively. And defensively, the Raptors came up one play bigger than the Nightmare.
Well, sometimes there's high scores, and sometimes there's not. But ultimately, regardless of the situation, you want to come out on the positive side of things in the win column, and that's exactly what Berks County does here tonight.
Hey,
Max Gretzula and Ian Cooper on the call. Ian, final words before we send it to break.
an ugly W is still a W, and the Raptors got their first today.
Couldn't have said it better myself. 1-5 now is their record, and they've been close previously. So the record does not tell the tale of what this team is all about. We'll step aside. We'll see you for the post-game show right here from Don Thomas Stadium. Max Gretzula, Ian Cooper on the call for B&B Media and GEFA Football. Welcome back to Don Thomas Stadium, everyone. It's a big-time victory for this squad here tonight. Berks County gets the job done. It's their first victory of the season. They're now 1-5. Crazy game. Max Gretzilla, Ian Cooper, and Nori Fall will be the player of the game. First of all, appreciate you joining us up in the huddle. Again, back and forth, nodded on the defensive side of things, 6-6 throughout. Playing in a game like this compared to what we've seen so far this season where you guys have been putting up, crazy amounts of points on both sides, you and your opponent. What's it like to play in a game like this where the weather is crazy and it's a defensive battle?
I feel like it was more fun. It was more of a dogfight. So me and my team, we knew like we basically 0-5. So we had to come out with a W any means possible. So I just played my part, try to give it my all every play.
Yeah, so up front you had yourself, you had Lash, you had Burgess and Sutton. All four of you applying pressure and just wreaking havoc on Carter and that offensive backfield. What was the game plan coming in?
To be honest, we were just containing. For me, Lash was doing his thing at nose guard, so he made it easier for us at end. So, yeah, everything fell apart like that. You former Raptor. Coach on us about containing every play. So we all played our part, did our assignment, and came out victorious.
Definitely easier for me as a broadcaster having a guy like this up here who understands the league, understands what the players go through, who have played a part and played in a role like yours. So let's talk about you getting your first victory of the season. Has to feel good. You've had opportunities, and we talked about the tough loss 2 weeks ago, high-scoring game, completely different today. Let's talk about specifically that play, right, because we're up here as broadcasters trying to figure out who's going to make the big-time play. Ton of penalties, ton of turnovers in this one. Yeah. You get the biggest one at that, the fumble, the recovery, and you're able to find your way all the way down to the 1 yard. Let's walk us through the play if you can.
So Lash went down, and he was keeping us alive all game. So when Lash went down, I just told myself time to lock in. Timmy told me he need me this last couple of drives, so I just had to lock in and gave everything I had. I was cooking. They switched 70 over there, and I was able to get past him real easy. So I already knew once that ball was snapped.
It's a big dude over there, number 7.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that.
Speed kills, and up front, you guys have shown your speed all game long. You guys didn't give up. The heart, can you talk about the heart of the defense?
All season has been defense. Defense wins games, but I feel like as a whole, the defense was just tired of losing. We were tired of every week on social media, everybody talking down us, so we just knew we had to step up and get this win for Timmy and Brandon. So
the Raptors defense was on the field for an extended period of time, and thanks to this guy, they walk out of here with a big-time victory. 12-6, it was a tight one. And, again, all that matters at the end of the day is the W in the win column. Max Gretzilla, Ian Cooper, Nori Fall will be the player of the game. We say so long right here from Don Thomas Stadium. And, of course, Berks County gets their first win of the season. We'll see you next time. Have a great night, everyone.